It is anyone's guess as to whether or not I was streaming there. I thought I had started the stream, but you gotta start it on YouTube. It didn't happen. What's going on, everybody? It's Adrian Hunter from over here at the AM Hookah Podcast, and today it might look like I'm trying to actually put two Egyptian bowls together to make something in the thumbnail, but that's not what we're doing. Today, I'm going to go over why you should probably actually own an Egyptian bowl and how you would use one, because I feel like that's information that's slowly being lost and becoming somewhat archaic in this age of brand new funnel bowls and like these relics ring bowls and stone bowls, and these are all great bowls, and these are arguably objectively better than funnel bowl or Egyptian bowls for certain reasons, but there are reasons to own Egyptian bowls. That said, let's see if I can do this properly this time in transition. These are bowls. 3 of these are proper Egyptian bowls. One of them is a handmade bowl. Nafael, Akeem, Raul, Nightbot, Rami, hopefully Tommy from the Hookahologist, hopefully you guys are all doing well. And I'm going to kind of walk through an Egyptian bowl. Hopefully it works out because my coals are a little burnt down already. But this shouldn't be too hard. Everyone in my house is drunk, so you might hear some of them. But hopefully audio is going well. But here you see I have 4 Egyptian bowls. By the way, before I forget, something came through. The coals we're going to be smoking with today are going to be a coal that is going to be sponsoring the channel for a little while. And coming up on my channel, Rami, I've got some coal, not coal, but some tobacco you sent me. Those reviews are coming up. But we over here at the AM Hookah Podcast are sponsored now officially by Prestige Coconut Coals, Prestige Company. We love those guys. But, Raul, what's going on, buddy? On to this. So if I can, and they should be able to do this. Well, let's see if I can. While I've got you here waiting, I should probably add one more thingy like that. Perfect. If I do it like that, it'll probably work pretty well. Do that, and then transition. I really hope the audio doesn't get fucked. Let me know if it does, but now I'm small and these are big. I'm going to kind of go over how you would pack one of these. And it doesn't really matter what you're packing it with, because packing methods are going to vary depending on the tobacco, but for the sake of user friendliness, I'm just going to be doing a quick bowl of the Triforce that's pretty light on the mint. There we go, there's that. Alright, so really quick, tutorial on actual Egyptian bowls. They come in all shapes and sizes. We've got here a very small one. Like this is puny. This is my thumb, and that's what happens there. It's very small, pretty shallow. These holes in it are actually very tiny. At least the middle one is. I'm not going to use that today because I want a session that's going to last a little longer and have more flavor. And here we have one that's a little bit less tiny, but still relatively small. It's getting more towards the medium size. And this one I just wanted to show off because a guy at this local shop made this for me. It's just a really basic Egyptian style bowl that's got like these little marks he etched with a with a butter knife. So cool. The audio is still good. Thank you so much. Today, Nathaniel, what we're going to be using is this guy. It's a pretty good sized Egyptian bowl, and I'm just going to show you how I pack it, how you could pack it if you weren't packing it for the purposes of modern smoking, because there's 2 ways to pack this. One of them involves making a makeshift funnel, one of them doesn't. But let's just get right down to it. Sorry about the lighting. There's a kind of a small party in my house, so I can't steal the lighting like I normally do. The normal required materials are all here. We've got our foil. You don't need a fork, but I'm going to use one so I don't have to stop and wash my hands. And then just for the sake of continuity, let's go back to scene 3. And I'm going to move myself over so it looks like I'm looking at the tobacco. Haha, I'm a genius. At Jim can't hang long with fam. Oh, I'm super pumped you're here joining us, Matt. Poker, bowl, blah, blah, blah. Let's start. As usual, you want to get your tobacco good and mixed up. This is not a mystery. This is something we do with most of our tobacco and most of our bowls. As I don't have a lot of blueberry left because I've been smoking a lot of it in different mixes. This first pack method I'm going to show you guys is the most common one that I see here in modern times anyway, and that's going to probably be due to funnel bowls being the main type of bowl we all smoke out of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a good heaping portion from the fork. I'm going to go about 50-50, so about like That's about how much blueberry I want in there. Now keep in mind that if you're going to be using something like your Zomos or your Alpha Commas or your Ezers, they've all got slightly varying pack methods, which is an important thing to keep in mind. Akeem, mad at the gym, getting bulk, are we? Haha. Yeah, he wants to punch me right in my mouth when we get to LA this year. Or LA. Yeah, it's in Vegas, not LA. And now we're going to use our Alpaca grapefruit and do roughly the same thing. Mix it up, and half. And then there are a few things you can do from this point. And I'm going to stop here and kind of show you what those things are. So that's about as much tobacco as I want in this bowl. You could go more. I'm not going to for the purposes of this video. So now you've got your tobacco. It's side by side. So one thing you could do is dump the whole bowl and then remix it, and you'll get a slightly different flavor profile. But we're not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to adjust it to where it should be and leave it where it is. So just as usual, we're going to use our poker, and we're going to kind of adjust all the tobacco to be even and just under the rim. By the way, what the hell is everyone smoking? This is the AM Hookah channel. This is technical difficulties. How cool is this thing that we do here where we all just bullshit about hookah all day? Whether you're doing it here on the AM Hookah podcast, you're over with the guys at THL, you're just on the Facebook groups, whatever you're doing, this is a cool pastime. So this is almost the finishing point. For this particular method, we're going to take our poker, go down into the center hole, do a couple of these, remove, and I would use your pinky, it's the best size thumb for the job. And then I would create a makeshift funnel in the center. This is actually a finished bowl pack. It's a pretty solid bowl pack if you want a bowl that's going to smoke similar to a funnel bowl. I have a problem with this bowl pack, and my problem with this bowl pack is it's a weird problem. It's hard to explain. The best way I can put it is that you're trying to emulate a funnel bowl's performance. So when you pack a funnel bowl, you actually want a funnel in the middle of your bowl going down into the tobacco. But with an Egyptian bowl, you've got 5 holes on the bottom of the Egyptian bowl. There's something else you can do, and this is the more old school way of packing it. This is the first way I learned to pack it. This is something I moved away from after I discovered funnel bowls, and then when I realized that these are not funnel bowls and they are not to be treated the same way, I switched back, and now I really prefer Egyptian bowls for certain sessions, especially with things like alfaqar. So to transition back, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take that hole, and I'm going to kind of fill it with a bit, move it around. I would really prefer it if there was tobacco over that hole, because basically any air we have moving to the bottom of the bowl, I would much prefer it if it was just all passing over tobacco. That's what we want. And because of the tobacco being over the holes, I actually want a slightly airier pack and more of an overpack. So what we're going to do is we're going to hard reset. Boop. You'll see that that all came out at once. It was a bit dense. We don't want it quite that dense. So we're going to redense it. I am a fan of having a grapefruit forward flavor. So we'll grab a little bit more of this stuff. We do not have our trademark Bracken pack mats today. Just because it's in the other room, I got some other people smoking hookahs in the house, so you know how that goes. And then we're going to do the hashtag gravity pack, but it doesn't matter how you do this part as long as you get the tobacco into the bowl. And you want to do it pretty loosely. That's the most important part. A bunch of density isn't going to do you any good. And a little bit more. And wait, I bet you guys couldn't guess. A little bit more. Now we have something that looks like that. It's a bit of an overpack, it's not going to stay that way. What we're going to do here is just take that poker again, and we are going to lightly massage the tobacco down towards the rim of the bowl. And we're going to leave it with a slight bulge, a slight overpack, but nothing insane. And we're going to do our best to not add too much density to the tobacco, because I really want air to just move through this tobacco and get to the bottom. That is my goal here. There we go, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. There's some shisha under my bed. I don't know how the shisha got under my bed. All I know that when I'm sleeping, At night, the shisha calls me from underneath my bed and says, Adrian, it's time to pack a bowl. I'm like, listen, I pack a bowl when I want to pack a bowl. And then it goes, okay, have a good night. And I go, okay, so here is the bowl. Now this seems like it's not going to breathe very well. I'm here to tell you we're mostly wrong. I'm inspired to use my Don Turkish later. My regular edgy is too small. You probably have a regular edgy like me, huh buddy? This thing is pathetic. To give you reference, this is a normal sized Egyptian bowl next to it. It's one little boy. So I'm going to commit a cardinal sin and try to foil a bowl with these. You know what? I'm going to wash my hands. I just want this to go correctly. So while you're waiting, you guys can tell me what you're smoking if you haven't. I haven't looked at comments, so if you've done that, don't worry about it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, that was pretty easy. Okay, let's go ahead and get some foil on this bowl. So we got our foil. My chair is sinking. And we got our bowl. I've made a bit of a mess. It's fine. This is an impromptu show. I'm crazy busy this weekend. But we got shows for the podcast, kids. Foiling should be, why is this chair doing this? The tobacco underneath my bed is messing with my chair settings. So, foil as usual. You want to make sure to get nice and drum tight. It's a little bit less important with an Egyptian bowl than it is with other bowls, so like that's fine. Normally I try to get that out of there. That's not super important for this one. My chair continues to sink. And you'd think, oh, it's a fat thing. But no. This chair's meant to hold my weight up. Hole pattern. Typically, when you're poking a hole pattern in a funnel bowl, you don't want to put the holes over the spire. There's no spire here. So we're going to go deep with the holes, and we're going to try to find the bottom of this Egyptian bowl as we pack holes. So, here we go. We'll start in the middle. Boom. And we'll just go all around, going all the way down. Anytime we can find a hole, we'll do it, but it's not a big deal if we don't. It's just for the sake of airflow. You can notice some of these holes are screwy, a little bit big. That can cause some performance issues, but this is going to work just fine in this case. And then we can get this and this out of here. This is how we're going to smoke our bowl. And I, as usual, am going to take some time to sit here and talk and smoke this bowl and have a little bit of conversation. Not as much as normal. Today's a bit busy. I'm a little bit flustered. Got all kinds of stuff going on. But still, I think we should talk about this bowl. So, you can smoke backer out of the edgy. I completely can see that. I'm going to need to get some backer, though, is the thing. So we'll get rid of this, and we'll get rid of something else. This, can that leave? Now it's a skateboard. Isn't that weird? Now it was the tobacco, and then it's a skateboard. Okay, so as usual, we have our matte pair here. These coals are certainly burnt down almost to the point of no return, but we'll see if we can get to work. And we've got our edgy bowl. Put that edgy bowl on. Let's get some coals going, assuming there's any heat left in these at all. Oh yeah, no, these are prestige coals. I forgot how good these are. We're golden. We'll start with 3. I don't think we'll need a 4th, but I've got 6 here in case I need a 4th. I know, 3 plus 3 equals 4. Alright, so we're going to let this heat up. I smoked a smruff. I don't know what that means. You'll have to elaborate a little bit. I almost destroyed all my edgy bowls. Outstanding. Everything's dying. My chair's sinking. It's the end of the world. Okay, kids. So, what are we smoking? Finally, time to relax. Gonna waste some Starbuzz on Blue Mist. I saw that already. Cool. Let's talk about why an Egyptian bowl, because I think that's kind of the whole point of this whole show. Please stop sinking. it's not going to stop sinking. I feel like that's the whole point of the entire show. So we're going to talk about why an Egyptian bowl. Why would I want to keep one of these? Why does it matter? Who's it for? With a funnel bowl, you've got a certain air pattern. You're going to have air moving over the shisha tobacco kind of briefly and moving down a spire. When you have this type of airflow, you can kind of see where you might lose some flavor saturation. And that's going to be because the air is touching the tobacco and going down into the bowl. With this Egyptian bowl setup, you're forcing all of the airflow to go through the tobacco down into the holes. So even though red clay isn't the best type of clay to burn shisha tobacco with, it is one of the better shapes for really light flavor saturation brands like Al-Fakir, like this grapefruit blueberry. It's a good grapefruit blueberry, but it's not the most intense grapefruit blueberry I've seen. That said, I do have time for a couple topics today, so we might want to get into that. But first, let's see if these 3 cubes, or 3 flats, are doing anything for us. Almost. This may need more heat because of how small these have gotten. Yeah, Prestige are great. One thing I've noticed about Prestige, and I've actually done a review on it, so it's not like I'm new to the brand or anything, but one thing I have noticed about Prestige is the ash content is not insane, but it's definitely there. I have recently fallen in love with this because I do this with my coal now, so I can keep them alive as long as possible when we're doing these live shows. And normally technical difficulties is a little better planned out, but my weekend started to go in a direction I didn't think it was going to. Maybe a little bit more on that in the podcast on Monday, maybe not. But yeah, these are solid coals. Smurf. Smoking the Smurf. What is Smurf, Robert Pope? I'm going to give this a minute to start smoking really well. So, let's chill out a little bit. Have a bit of a small conversation. Hazy bowls. This is something I didn't want to get into, but I'm going to get into it because I'm on my own. Because I feel like on the last episode I did a technical difficulties. There's a chance I went a little bit hard on hazy bowls. And I kind of agree with the people who maybe said that I did. Because Chris brought it to my attention that we should be a little bit more supportive of new people coming into the market. And hazy bowls, for those of you who don't know, is a bowl maker that charges a premium for their bowls, which is fine. But from the pictures I saw, I didn't necessarily know that the quality was there. However, they are sold out, their colors look really good, and I haven't tried it yet. So I'm actually going to be purchasing some hazy bowls and doing a little bit of a rundown here on the channel soon. Because we did get a commenter saying pretty, I don't want to say butthurt, more concerned with the way it was handled, and I can see where he's coming from. So I definitely wanted to address that. That said, I'm going to try to get this smoking. Nightbot, as usual, is shilling out our merch. Thank you, Nightbot. Clouds aren't there yet, but already the flavor is way stronger than what I get with a funnel bowl this early on in the session. So we're going to see see where the flavor profile goes. Let's scroll up a little bit. Yep, just mad at the gym, blah blah blah. I still don't know what everyone's smoking, which is, that doesn't seem right. People should tell me what they're smoking. Be good people. So Justin Young, I'm not sure if you're going to waste some Starbuzz Blue Mist on your shitty bowl. I don't know if that's a hit on Starbuzz Blue Mist or necessarily shitty bowl or both. You're going to have to reiterate that for me so I know what's going on. But this is a good time to talk about TGL. This is something we're going to be talking about pretty regularly because we are in a partnership with THL. What does that mean? What does that look like? Well, THL is going into a lifestyle brand, which I think is just two-tip gang. Really cool. Because they want to start to move hookah around. They really want to start to make hookah more of a lifestyle thing, and they kind of want to be the brand at the forefront of that, or the brand that really helps the community and industry expand a little bit. And me, Matt, and all the guys from the AIM Hookah podcast thought, this seems really cool. We have similar mission statements. So, yeah, we're partnering with them for the purposes of cross-pollination, and we kind of want to pay attention to each other's doing as we move forward. So go check out THL, because they've got 3 really good shows. I think they are into the Valhalla, they got the Payday Podcast, and they have this little show called, which one is it? Oh yeah, State of the Smoke, the most important thing. But Into the Valhalla does go on in a half hour. So if you want to check that out over on THL's channel, definitely do. Links are going to be coming soon. Just smoke peppermint shake. Yeah, that seems to be everyone's favorite trifecta flavor. Which, okay, so I've had it once. I haven't owned it yet. I need to get it. It's really, really good. But like this, has anyone noticed that every time trifecta comes out with a new flavor, it becomes the best new flavor for like an entire month? And then people start to talk about it a little less? Because hype definitely dies down quite a bit after a product initially comes out. But I have noticed that. Justin Young, both. Check out THL, I posted my bowl there. While we're sitting here talking, I'm going to check out THL because you posted your bowl there. Yeah. Facebook. THL. Everyone's favorite place to go. And by the way, just so everyone is completely clear, we tried to make this clear with them when we went into the partnership. This is not exclusionary of the other groups, because this is not so much about the group THL, this is about the things that they're doing. So keep that in mind. If you're talking about guys from over at Hookah University, if you're talking about guys from over at Hookah Enthusiasts, we are not exclusionary to those guys whatsoever. So keep that in mind. I'm going to try to find this bowl that this guy just posted, that our boy Justin Young just posted. If I can see it. John Marino, Frank. You know, when did you post this? Because I don't see it in the recent feed at all. Maybe it has been super active today? That's totally possible. The flavor's starting to come through quite potently. The clouds are starting to open up. Yeah, maybe you could send that to me in a DM or something if you want me to show it off. If that's what we're doing. I don't even know. My brain's frizzle fried. What did you say was on THL tonight? Something called the Payday Podcast. It is a non-hookah-centric podcast, but they will be enjoying hookah. But it's the guys Tommy and Eddie over from THL, and they do a pretty good job with their podcast. I sat in and watched a few of them. Wish I had Fallen Dragon. Fallen Dragon's a solid flavor. There's another one I've never owned, but I think Paul is sending me some, so that's pretty cool. By the way, Adrian, today I saw Australian tourists in the city today, and it looks like you when I'm buying clothes. And that looks like you when I'm buying clothes. Are you saying I look like an Australian tourist? My bad. Thought you said Valhalla was on tonight. No, yeah, it's going to be the Payday Podcast. Definitely check that out. That's going to be on. I'm actually going to be off before the Payday Podcast starts because I have to run pretty quickly on today's show. Is impromptu. Normally, I would have called Matt up and said, dude, you have to do it today. But this is one I kind of wanted to go over. And actually, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Egyptian bowls because there are some problems with Egyptian bowls. One of them is red clay. It is not as good at holding heat and evenly heating as an actual white clay funnel bowl would be, and that's just because of the quality of the clay, the glaze, and the quality control on the way they make these bowls themselves. It's not as good as it could be. You're going to get a lot of variance. I bought both these bowls from the same place at the same time. I'm assuming they're from the same batch. They look relatively consistent, but one of these is way deeper than the other, if you can kind of see that. The holes aren't all even. Like, there's all these things that go into how these perform. The guy who looked like me, autocorrect is messing me up. Okay, yeah. I was like, do I look like an Australian tourist? But the guy just looked like me. Maybe I was in Australia. I don't know. Was I in Australia? No, I wasn't in Australia, it turns out. Like I was saying, the red clay in these Egyptian bowls does not spread the heat out as evenly as some of these white clay bowls do, but it's the shape that makes these bowls so good for what they are. So if you can find a larger, like medium to large size Egyptian bowl, that's what I usually gravitate towards. But I know that, I'm not sure who it was that said they only had a small Egyptian bowl. Those aren't necessarily as good. Like this bowl isn't going to produce a great session all that often, for what that's worth. I think Valhalla comes on Wednesdays, or is that Mondays? I don't know, but Valhalla, that's a sweet show too. But because of the way that the shisha moves through the tobacco, the air is all forced to touch on the tobacco itself, pulling a lot more vapor from the vaporizing glycerin, molasses, or honey, depending on the tobacco we're talking about, down into your base and into your mouth, and gives you that blast of flavor. And that's why Egyptian bowls are so cool. And it's especially good with really light saturation flavor profile tobaccos like Al-Fakr. Or Messiah, or there's a lot of like Jordanian brands that have that type of thing going on, or like Al Waha or Al Ryan, all the Al brands kind of have that going on, where they tend to perform pretty good in an Egyptian bowl. What about those German style Egyptian bowls? I don't know that I've tried one, but basically, thank you, Justin's in here repping for THL, and I appreciate that. But yeah, absolutely. The German ones, as long as the clay is good, as long as they have the same shape, similar depth, they're going to perform quite similarly to an Egyptian bowl. That said, you can have something like a Don bowl. And I'll show those off at another show. But Don makes like the Turkish, the classic, the edgy, or what are all the names? The evil. And they all have like the holes at the bottom. They perform very similarly to the Egyptian bowls, except for the heat is much more consistent. One thing you will notice is heat spikes, unfortunately, and that's kind of a bummer. And I think that just comes from the clay having like different pores in different areas and the heat just spiking in certain spots. And that's a shame, but it's not necessarily going to destroy your session. But you do need to, as you get used to an Egyptian bowl that you have, this will be a little bit easier to avoid. Saturday's first and last of the month, I believe. That's really weird that they would spread it out like that. But hey, they're doing something right over there at THL. The clouds are not quite what you get out of a funnel bowl, but let's see if I can blow like a meaningful cloud here and see if it does anything. The flavor is really good. This is basically the Triforce sans a ton of mint. It's just grapefruit with mint, so there's a lot of mint in the mix. A little bit of mint in the mix. Why is that a tongue twister? Yeah, the clouds are pretty solid. You could probably pull better clouds. My coals are a little died down. This could actually use a little more heat, but I'm not going to put a fifth coal on here. That seems a little insane. But this bowl is smoking pretty well. Prestige coals, kill it. Now, this is basically what I had to cover today. Sorry, it's a bit of a shorter one. I'm not going to leave just yet. If anyone has anything they wanted to touch on, or any questions they had, or anything like that, you can go ahead and ask that at any point. Me and my bass guitar with a wizard hat on, and my Jimi Hendrix skateboard will try to answer your questions. And the shisha tobacco under my bed will probably be chiming in as well. Did I just get binged? Is this a thing? Is this an important thing? No, it's not. It doesn't look like it. I was wondering if maybe he sent me that that bowl picture, potentially. Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but unfortunately, the feed on Facebook is no longer, I mean, it hasn't been for a while, isn't completely chronological. So, wait, hold on. Nope. Oh, here's Jim Zaida using Ugly in an Egyptian bowl, which is pretty good. And it looks like he's smoking some Hookah Rush Triforce. Well, that's pretty sweet. Oh, I guess one thing we could talk about for a little bit is the podcast, because next Monday, today's Friday, so in 3 days, we're going to have Derek and Devin Moses on from Moses Hoses, and we're going to play a little bit of a game. More details on that the day of, but it's going to be me and Matt versus them, and Bracken's going to be asking us some questions, and we're going to be answering them. So Egyptian bowls are pretty much just for Al Waha and Al-Fakr, and would you go out of your way to buy it? That is a good question. No. Trifecta Dark. Trifecta Blonde. Both lines. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people, I think, is this common info? I'm just going to say it because I'm pretty sure it is, because a lot of people know that Moose from over at Trifecta tests his flavors in an Egyptian bowl with the first method I went over, where you put a hole in the middle. And that's because more people, now this is an enthusiast community, so we all have these nice funnel bowls and stuff, but most people don't use funnel bowls in their day-to-day smoking. They'll use something like an Egyptian bowl. So we'll make sure that his flavors will perform in Egyptian bowls. Are you looking for something?
Yeah, I was looking for the labels.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm going to be done soon. You want to run the rest of the show for me?
No. Testing right here.
My train of thought is gone. That door needs to be closed while I'm doing this, dude.
Snake on past me.
Snake on past me? Hey, go hit guy for me.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
just said you borrow something.
That was the girlfriend. But yeah, a lot of brands actually perform very interestingly in an Egyptian bowl, and that does include Trifecta Dark. But yeah, this is for people who would use stuff like Al Waha, Al Ryan, Messiah. Alpha Kama works quite well using this method because it really brings out the flavor profiles. And Al Fakir. And yeah, I do think people do, I don't know if people go out of their way to buy these brands, but I think a lot of people use these brands, and I think that's just fine. There is this kind of, and I'm not going to put this on any of you, but there is an elitist vibe in the enthusiast groups where, like, you need to be smoking these certain brands of tobacco, and while I agree because they are in most, by most metrics, better tobaccos, most people that smoke hookah don't really care what they're smoking. So you want to get them getting the best sessions they can with the tobacco they have and the bowls they have, and that typically tends to just be Egyptian bowls. Now, sent you a pic of the bowl I was looking into buying. Well, let's see if I can find it. Naf, did you send it to me on direct message? You did. Let's take a look at this real quick. Okay, so I don't know what clay these are made of, but it looks white and they look well made. So I think really, really quick, I am just going to show you guys what Naf is talking about. Okay, so let's see here. Dude. Anyone have any thoughts on these bowls? I don't know anything about them. But I will say they've got but that doesn't work. I have to do it like this. I will say that they have everything I'm looking for in an Egyptian bowl, with the holes placed at the bottom, a good amount of depth to pack the tobacco, and the clay looks like it's pretty high quality, and the aesthetic is just gorgeous. Now, Raphael, where did you find these bowls, just out of curiosity? Oh, wow. I always forget how good an Egyptian bowl session can be until I go on my way to pack an Egyptian bowl. And again, I'm not trying to come on here telling people, go buy Egyptian bowls right now, they're better than funnel bowls. This is somewhat for people who only own Egyptian bowls, and this is somewhat for people who think that Egyptian bowls are hot garbage, which tends to be the way a lot of people think about Egyptian bowls, which I think is wrong. These bowls, however, are absolutely stunning. I don't know what they are or who makes them. So maybe I can find out by exiting out of the picture and looking at the entirety of the post. Nope, just picture. So Naf, maybe you could tell me a little bit more about the bowls. Those are Dashini bowls. So they're on 5 Star Hookah, Instagram, website, sent you mine via Messenger. Well, I'm going to look into that too. But those bowls look really good. It's going to come down to the clay they're made out of. It's going to be the make or break for that particular style of bowl. So let's see if I can't. Bam. Here is his bowl. This is an insanely chipped Egyptian bowl. Now I am going to say, I think you can go ahead and get this to work. These Egyptian bowls are pretty grody. A lot of them they come chipped. This bowl, as bad as it is, I don't think I'd use it because of the collection of bowls that I currently have. And I think all of us can probably say the same thing that are on this chat. We all have some bowls that are probably fairly high end. But this particular Egyptian bowl, as bad as it looks, as crazy as it sounds, you could probably get to work if you just foiled it. That said, this is a pretty chipped Egyptian bowl. This thing is whack. But, wow. But did you drop it or did it come like this? How did this happen? Kind of a wild looking Egyptian bowl. Oh, you're smoking it this tight. Yeah, that's another thing about Egyptian bowls, is because it doesn't so much matter that your foil's super drum tight with an Egyptian bowl, that you can get it to function, which is pretty neat. Clouds open up pretty good. The heat's actually where I want it now, which is really nice. And Alfacker's grapefruit, for anyone who hasn't tried it, you should just try it. It's pretty good. Desind makes high quality hookahs, so I think the clay is probably good. Desind, I can't speak on the quality of their hookahs. I've heard some stigma against Desind, and I've heard some people talking real good stuff about Desind. But I can say that their pipes at least look like they're constructed properly, and those bowls look great. So I think I'm going to pick one up. What's the price point? If you can let me know, Neff. Robert Pope, I'm curious about this. What's your go-to bowl to smoke backer out of? That's something I've been dying to know, because I know a few people that may have some backer in their hands, and I know a few people that may say that it's like some of the craziest, strongest tobacco ever. And I'm very interested as to what your bowl of choice is when you're smoking backer. Naf's on it. He's going to check for us. Man, I should have eaten more food. I'm buzzing just a little bit, but it's okay. I haven't really eaten today, and I don't have a beverage with me, which is very weird and irresponsible. And as soon as Naf checks out what the price point's going to be, I'm going to hop off, because this was fun. I have some things I have to go take care of. I have some people I have to go make sure aren't ruining my house. And we'll be back on Monday for the full-length podcast with Derek and Devin Moses. And we have some other guests getting lined up that are going to be pretty awesome. And I hope you guys come check those out. And we'll be letting you know in advance, obviously. And then I'm not going to show merch or anything. That feels more like Nightbot and Matt's job. Also, that's not really what technical difficulties are for. But after the show, I will have merch posted in the link. We've got some sweet merch. Instagram is AM Hookah Podcast. On Instagram, we've got some cool stuff. And if you buy merch, send us pictures of yourselves wearing it, because I want to put it on Instagram. Day weird. Oh, like day weird. Man, I love the way you type. You type phonetically, which is something I think we could all afford to do a little bit more. Naf's on it. He says $15 on 5-star. Okay, 15 bucks on 5-star for those bowls. If they perform, if the clay is consistent so that it heats up like a funnel bowl, like a proper funnel bowl does, but performs like an Egyptian bowl, that's a good $15 to spend. It's a really good $15 if you smoke a lot of blonde leaves. You could do the funnel pack, although it doesn't look like there's a center hole in that bowl, but that's fine. I don't think that's the biggest deal. If you're going to pack it like you would pack a traditional Egyptian bowl with no hole in the middle, because a lot of people will do that for airflow, but that's kind of you're missing the point a little bit when you do it like that. But really quick, I'm going to pop this photo back up that Naf sent me on the bowls from 5-star. And see, yeah, I don't see a center hole. It looks like it's a 4-hole design. So you couldn't get away with the funnel thing unless you made a ridiculously large funnel and probably had too much airflow. You wouldn't get any flavor. But those bowls definitely look interesting. But yeah, and I'm kind of doing this because I'm probably going to do some more content using Egyptian bowls, because I think more people should know about Egyptian bowls. So I kind of wanted to show everyone what's going on. And Naf smokes mostly blondes. That's not to say that funnels don't work with blondes, because I think we all know that they do. But funnel bowls, the Egyptian bowls work pretty well too. It seems pretty thick too. Yeah, that thing could probably take a drop. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop them in the comments afterwards. I'm going to let you guys off the hook. I've got things to do. I've got things I gotta go do for the interwebs and for personal life, so I'm gonna hop off. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, happy smoking.